My name is Ikhlas, and I am a senior student at Al Azhar University. I study English literature, and in today's presentation, we're going to talk about bilingualism and how learning two or more languages can change your brain and your life. Hablas español? Parlez-vous français? Do you speak English? If you answered C, oui, or yes, then chances are you belong to the world's bilingual and multilingual majority. And beside having an easier time traveling and watching movies without subtitles, your brain might function and work differently from those of your monolingual friends. So, what does it really mean to know a language? Well, language ability is typically measured in four parts: two active parts, speaking and writing, and two passive parts, reading and listening. While a balanced bilingual has near equal abilities across the board in two languages, most bilinguals around the world use their languages in different proportions. And depending on their situation and on how they acquired each language, they can be classified into three types. So we have three types of bilinguals. To talk more about the types, let's take Huda, for example. Huda's family immigrates to the US when she is 2 years old. As a compound bilingual, Huda developed two linguistic codes at the same time, using a single set of concepts, learning both Arabic and English as she begins to process the world around her. On the other hand, her teenage brother, on the other hand, might be a coordinate bilingual, working with two sets of concepts, learning English at school while continuing to speak in Arabic at home with family and friends. And finally, Huda's parents, who are more likely to be a subordinate bilinguals, who learn a second language by filtering it through their primary one. Now, because all types of bilingual people can become fully proficient in a second language, regardless of the accent or the pronunciation, the difference may not be apparent to a casual observer. However, recent advances in brain imaging technology have given neurologists a glimpse into how specific aspects of learning a new language can affect the bilingual brain. It's well known that our brain's left hemisphere is more dominant and analytical in logical processes, while the right hemisphere is more active in emotional and social ones. Though this is a matter of degree, not an absolute split. The fact that language involves both types of function, while lateralization develops gradually with age, has led to the critical period hypothesis. Now, what is the critical period hypothesis? According to this theory, children learn languages more easily because of the plasticity of their brain that let them use both hemispheres, the left and the right, in the language acquisition process. While in most adults, language is lateralized in one hemisphere, usually the left. If this is true, learning a new language in childhood may give you a holistic grasp of its social and emotional context. Conversely, a recent research has shown that people who learn a second language in adulthood exhibit less emotional bias and a more rational approach when confronting problems in the second language than in their native one. But regardless of when you learn a second language, being bilingual or multilingual gives your brain some remarkable advantages. Some of these are even visible, such as a higher density of the gray matter in your brain. The gray matter that contains more of your brain's synapses and neurons, and also a more activity in some regions of your brain when engaging a second language. The heightened workout a bilingual brain receives through its life can also help delaying the onset of some diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia by as much as 5 years. The idea of major cognitive benefits of bilingualism may seem intuitive now, but it would have surprised early experts. Before 1916s, bilingualism was considered a handicap that slowed a child's development by forcing them to spend too much time processing and distinguishing between languages. And while a more recent study did show that the effort and attention needed to switch between languages actually triggered more activity in the child's brain and potentially strengthened the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that plays a large role in executive function, switching between tasks, a problem solving skill, and focusing while filtering irrelevant information. So, while bilingualism may not make you smarter, but it actually does make your brain sharper, healthier, and more complex. And even if you didn't have the good fortune to learning a new language when you were a child, it's never too late to do yourself a favor and to take the linguistic leap from marhaba to hello, hola, or bonjour. Learning a new language is an exercise of the mind. It's an equivalent of going to the gym every day. Now, let's talk about why bilingualism is good for your brain. Well, in the bilingual brain, all languages are active all at the same time. The continual effort of suppressing one language while speaking another, along with the mental challenge that comes with regularly switching between languages, exercises our brain. It improves our concentration, memory, problem solving skill, and in turn, our creativity. A key breakthrough came back in 2007 in Toronto. This study made a discovery that shocked the scientific community and has a massive implications in real life. It was the first study that suggested that people who speaks more than one language or bilingual people develop dementia 4 to 4.5 years later than those who speak only one language. It was a powerful confirmation of the idea of cognitive reserve. Now, what does cognitive reserve really mean? Cognitive reserve is the idea that people can develop a reserve of thinking ability, and this protects them from the losses that can happen with age and diseases. As well as delaying the onset of dementia, bilingual people have been shown to recover significantly better after a stroke. Learning anything new can actually help build cognitive reserve, but there is something special about language. Language is particularly more broad and complex. It affects ideas, perceptions, concepts, and different sounds. The more complex a certain skill is, the more likely it is to have a positive effect on cognitive reserve. One lesser known behavioral effect of bilingualism in both children and adults is the ability to see other people's perspective and to understand that it's possible to have different points of view. A recent study also found that people tend to react in more emotional way in their first language, while in a more rational and in a more abstract way in their second language. And the way it's usually explained is that we usually use our native language to speak with friends and family in informal settings, while the second language is usually learned at school, university, or at work. Learning a new language and speaking more than one language is actually very important not only for individuals but also for societies. Learning new languages can open doors for new opportunities and for new cultural experiences, along with different ways of seeing the world. And with that, I will finally say, مع السلامة, goodbye, adios.